Hi everyone, this is Darren with SimNation. Just doing a quick recap video slash playoff edition for WWPF, which is our Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2025 League here at SimNation. We will move to 2026 probably in the next 2 weeks when the season flips oval. Kind of obligated to as a featured league for Wolverine Studios. But let's just dive straight into the playoff picture. So the season has ended, the regular season has ended. The playoff teams are Carolina in Invisible Witnesses. Carolina squad is number one. They'll probably this is a team to beat in the whole league right now for the Super Bowl. I think that they will make the Super Bowl. There are some kind of gotchas out there that they got to worry about. Dallas and Templar made the number two seed. Great job, Templar. Um, San Francisco and Detroit won their respective divisions. So that's Superman at Detroit, Stuart at San Francisco. And then Arizona and Los Angeles both made the playoffs as the wild card teams. So Arizona Simon, and then Los Angeles is Barry. Just missing out on the playoffs was Chicago with Cotton. Great season from Cotton. That tie with Green Bay definitely hurt him. Tampa Bay had a great season despite the 8-8 record. So MBB Mets had a really, really good showing throughout the season. It's a shame that they lost the last three because they were trending towards the playoffs most of the season. Uh, DWK and Udo both had chances at the playoffs. So DWK's New York, Udo's Washington. New York had probably the better of the two chances, and that loss in the last week of the season's definitely hurt them. Udo could have done a little bit more, maybe I think in the middle or early part of the season, but still great seasons from both squads. We'll talk about the matchups here in a second. In the AFC, the number one seed is Pittsburgh, who claimed the number one seed with a win over Baltimore because they have the tie breaks with New York. In the fact they didn't lose a division game, they didn't lose a conference game. The only loss came to LA. Both of the losses came outside of the AFC. Um, Number two seed is Kevin, his New York Jets. Great season from Kev. Probably is the number two team I would say to watch in the playoffs. Kev and his team are just really, really stacked right now. So great job, Kev. If you look at it, you can see here he has one of the top two quarterbacks in the league with Adam Johnson. I think Adam actually edged out Marvin, both Maryland quarterbacks. But you can see here he's just got a deep, deep base. He can run the ball too. You see here Whiteman's had a really great season. So uh, great job from him. Definitely a team to watch going into the playoffs. Bama is another team to watch in the playoffs. It may not seem like it, but Bama has the ability that once he gets started, he's really hard to stop. So Schaefer's had a really good season. Woodward's had a really good season. He's made deep runs before. Just keep an eye on Tennessee because Bama is able to kind of go off. And then you have Oakland, who's the CPU, who rounds out the division winners. And this is a team that, if you're interested in joining our league, is probably one of the best teams to take. If Peter was here, one, I don't think they'd be 9-7, but he also would be one of the teams to keep an eye on because Oakland always comes on strong in the playoffs. The two wildcard teams are Miami, which is SOA, and Cleveland, which is Bio. Miami is a team that on paper should do really, really well in the playoffs. And again, SOA has made some deep runs. As you can see here, they won quite a bit of a winning streak, probably the hottest team at the time before they got tripped up by Oakland, who, of course, they play again this week. We'll talk more about that in a second. But from a perspective of Cleveland's had a great season despite losing Maynard McKnight, who is a starting quarterback. They unfortunately lost him in the Pittsburgh game, which means Santos has had to pick it up. And he's doing pretty decently, but that kind of just changes the dynamic a little bit. He has Scott Grant as his running back, but just an all in all great season from Bio in making the playoffs. Other teams to call out that came kind of close to making it was Prince with Denver. Uh, this really hurt Prince this stretch here, where you can see he lost 5 straight games, 6 out of 7, before he kind of went on a tear and got it all close again. So he has good momentum going into next season, but very, very close to making the playoffs. And then, of course, these two are CPU teams. So if we look into the first round of the playoffs, you have two repeat matchups from the last week of the season: LA and San Francisco, Miami and Oakland. Um, this is a push game for me. They've split the regular season. You have arguably the one of the best off passing offenses, if not they are the best passing offense. You have the best passing offense in LA versus one of the more solid defenses and solid overall teams in the league in San Francisco. This one to come down to defense. San Francisco can stop Norris Goldman and Dominic Lee and people like that. They have a chance. If they don't, they're going to lose. Um, and in the case of LA, really the key is they just got to stop San Francisco from scoring. The biggest problem with LA was my pick to make it to the Super Bowl this year, is the defense. The defense has been really, really atrocious, as you can see here. And I'm not trying to pick on Barry, but just defensively, they've struggled really, really hard. Whereas on the opposite side, you can see Stuart's defense is pretty solid. So injuries aren't really in play here. So I think this is just going to be a shootout, like the last two matchups have been. And as you can see here, they lost one, which was 41-38. They won one, which was 49-42. These games are always close, and it's kind of a toss-up as to who will get out of there. Arizona versus Detroit. This one's going to come down to injury. Uh, Straight up, I would say Detroit would win this one probably if injuries were not in play. But I think that the challenge that you're going to run into is Detroit just has too many injuries. Um, Keep an eye on Charlie McDougal. He's a game-changing running back. Definitely can do it. But I kind of favor Simon in this one, who's Arizona, over Superman in Detroit, only because Simon's entering less hurt. He also has C.J. Kelly, who is a complete game changer. Former Jet wide receiver, by the way. So I do think Arizona is going to win this one, and it's largely just going to be because of injuries, and those are always outside of people's hands. Cleveland versus Tennessee. This one's going to be an intriguing matchup. Um, Cleveland with Maynard McKnight probably wins this game. The loss of Victor King and Phil Tillman definitely hurts Cleveland a lot. It makes them a little bit more one-dimensional. But it'll be interesting to see. I've seen stranger things happen, but I think despite the injuries that Tennessee has, including Harold Carey, which is a big blow to that offense, I do think that Tennessee has more depth than Cleveland does, and I think Tennessee's probably going to win this one. Although it's going to be really, really close. That defense is just amazing at Tennessee. Bama's done a great job. Bio's done a really good job on his side as well. But I think the injuries on this side kind of outweigh the injuries on that side, and Tennessee will probably win. Miami versus Oakland. This is a repeat of last week. Oakland gives Miami fits. Miami gives Oakland fits. This one's probably too close to call. I do think that Oakland's going to pull the upset, though, only because Adam Johnson's hitting his stride right now. And he's got more offensive targets. This is interesting because these are two Maryland quarterbacks against each other. And Marcus Witten, no, it was Ron Baker that came after Marcus Witten. Adam was after Ron. Um, but if you look at this, what you can see is he definitely is hitting his stride. And you can see kind of the progression that at one point it looked like the season was over, and then they won 3 straight. If they get time, definitely Oakland has it. You look over here with Marcus. What you see is Marcus is struggling a little bit. But overall, SOA has the better defense, and it's in the past, so this one should be an interesting matchup. I think if SOA can get a few picks and slow down Adam Johnson and the team, he wins. If he can't, I think that the challenge is going to be that it's going to be another close game, but I think Oakland wins it. And then if we look at overall just where things are, I think it's going to be really hard for a team to beat Carolina. Now, Dallas did beat them, and Dallas is on the radar. The other team to keep an eye on is LA has beaten Carolina before. You can see that game went very, very tight. Detroit probably has less of a chance if they make it through. But it'll be interesting to see. I think really the team that Carolina's probably the most skilled of on the NFC side is going to be Dallas. And again, just looking here, you'll see that Ron Baker's had a pretty solid year. I don't know why I chose that. Rushing wise, you see they have 1,000 yard running backs. They will definitely get it done on the ground, and they have one of the league's best defenses. So, on the case of Dallas, the only thing I'm concerned about with Dallas is the injuries are starting to mount. Losing Jamie Fogg hurts a bit, but they have Calvin O'Malley, who's the former UCLA quarterback. You can see that they have a decent rushing attack. Receiving wise, they do spread the ball out, which gives them a little bit more capability. And then they have a pretty good defense as well. So it'll be interesting to see. This is the one team that I think that if they can make it to the conference final, they have a chance. But the challenge I think that they run into is if you look at who the losses are to. They lost to Stuart, so Stuart gets out of that matchup with Barry. There's a good chance that Stuart could probably win that one. Um, I don't think they played Detroit. Yeah, they did. Preseason doesn't really mean much, so I'm not going to base it off that. So Dallas has got a good chance of making a run. I do think that all roads in the NFC lead through Carolina. So if it's Dallas versus Carolina, or if it's San Francisco versus Carolina, or LA versus Carolina, I do think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Carolina just has a penchant for essentially thumping teams. If you look at Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's main problem right now is their defense is not as good as it normally is. They have probably one of the best run defenses in the league. They have one of the best rushing offenses in the league, but they've been a little bit stagnant this season when it comes to the secondary, and that just has to do with something stupid I did in the offseason, where I prioritize certain things over other things. But if you look at Pittsburgh, they lost to LA, and then they lost to San Francisco. So they make it in because both of the losses were outside of the division. They should be healthy by the time that they play. Getting Plummer back would actually help open up the offense. But Lackey is playing well beyond his age at this point. Um, and then if you look at the team that I actually think will be winning the conference, it's the Jets. Uh, Jets have just had an amazing season under Kev this year. Herman is doing really strong things. They got a great running game with Whiteman. And then they have those 3,000 yard wide receivers in Hayes, Torres, and Danielson. So I think in people also often look past their defense. They could get pressure really quick on people. And they've done a really good job of that. And they can pick the ball off. So all in all, this team is the team I'd keep an eye on. I do think that the second team to keep an eye on, again, like I mentioned before, is Tennessee. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to do that well in the playoffs. They have some issues this year, and I just don't think they're going to be able to get past them. So that's kind of it. If you're interested in joining our league, really great teams to take would be Oakland, Baltimore, Cincinnati. Oval Hill would be Atlanta, Green Bay. If you want to get a really, really good pick, be New Orleans, Seattle, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, or yeah. So definitely, if you're interested, let us know. Discord channel's here, and hope you have a great week. Thanks. Bye.